Okay.
Okay. All right, so let me repeat. If you need art supplies, and the library has been really generous and gracious enough to give us grab and go art supplies. Due to the blizzard, they have been closed for the last 2 days. Art supplies and grab and go bags will be available at the Hoboken Library starting this afternoon. All right. Two announcements that I want to make. Number one, I will be having a weaving workshop, kind of part of the celebration for Women's History Month, March 20th. It is a Saturday. I forget the time of day that it is. It is a Zoom class sponsored by the Hoboken Public Library. They probably will be having grab and go bags for that. You need a piece of cardboard. If you have any boxes around your house, just cut off the short side of a cardboard box. You need some kind of string or twine, a pair of scissors, and either yarn or strips of fabric that you have laying around. You are going to love weaving. It is the perfect stay at home isolation project to do. It's right up there with knitting and crocheting and hand stitching. I feel that weaving is even more relaxing. Those of you who are prone to arthritis like I am, weaving is just so therapeutic for stiff fingers, especially during these cold winter months. The other announcement, Ibu Ndoy, my husband, is having a Zoom workshop sponsored by the Union City Public Library tomorrow night. You must register at their website ahead of time. I believe the class runs from 6 to 8 p.m. They also are supplying grab and go bags. I know during a blizzard it's going to be hard to get there to pick them up. What you need is one empty glass pasta sauce jar with the label removed. You will need a black Sharpie. And if you have acrylic paint, you're good to go. So again, Ibu Ndoy, he's teaching reverse glass painting, which is a tradition of his home country, Senegal. And I know many of you in this class have done it before and have enjoyed it. So in the chat box, if you're willing to share with folks about how much fun it was, that would be helpful. It's free of charge, but you do have to register in advance. Did anyone register? I'm wondering, I'm curious, have you gotten your Zoom link yet? Because I have not gotten it myself.
I registered.
Go ahead.
Somebody said yes, you got it?
No, I registered, but I didn't get a link.
Oh, okay. So maybe she's going to send it today. I'll check with her later.
I registered and picked up supplies.
Did you get a link yet? Who is this?
No.
Dina?
Yeah, this is Dina. I think she's going to send it on the day.
Oh, okay.
But I'll check.
I'll check too. Don't worry.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. So some of you just arrived, so forgive me. I'm going to repeat. On March 20th, I'm having a weaving workshop sponsored by the Hoboken Public Library, free of charge. And you do have to register for that one in advance as well. You need one piece of heavyweight cardboard. If you got something delivered during the pandemic, just cut the short end of the box off. You'll need string, yarn, and a pair of scissors. All right. Today we are starting, this is the first class, yeah. This is the first class of February. We are starting our celebration of African American History Month. As you all know, we would be nothing in this country without the contributions of African American people, and particularly, I believe, African American artists. So what better time than now to think about and look at the art of African American artists. I picked an artist today whom is quite new to me. I love finding new up and coming people. His name is Arcmanoro Niles. He's an American contemporary painter. He made a name, or he's making a name for himself with these extraordinarily vibrant, distinctly vibrant, expressive, and intimate figurative paintings. They're often of people that he knows. He likes to put them in very unusual places, in domestic settings. He frequently puts them in bathrooms or kitchens. I find them very psychological, fraught with meaning and emotion, and sometimes they're coupled with these surreal images, kind of cartoon-like images. The paintings I'm going to show you today don't really, well, they might have them in there, but I haven't noticed them yet. But the cartoon images that he puts in his work are kind of the evil side of the people that he's representing. You know how we often do naughty things, all of us are guilty of doing things that we shouldn't do on occasion. And these little cartoony creatures that he puts into his works represent that side of everybody's nature. He was born in Washington, D.C. He studied at the Duke Ellington School of the Arts and the Washington Studio School. And then he went to the Montgomery Community College's School of Art and Design. He graduated in 2010. He's such a baby. He went to the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts in Philadelphia. He also went to the New York Academy of Art, which if you don't know it, it's extremely academic, very difficult art school to get accepted to. They focus on artists recreating work as realistically as possible, almost photographically, in their representation of the human figure. And he also went to the Skowhegan School of Painting and Sculpture in 2018. All right, and Michelangelo and Caravaggio are influences of his, which I think is quite interesting and wonderful. His technique is fascinating. He likes to paint the whole background first, usually in oils, over which he paints acrylics. And that creates a very warm quality to the colors that he uses. He also on occasion uses a sprinkling of glitter to emphasize specific areas of his work. The works are semi-autobiographical, as I mentioned, I think before, often depict representations of himself and people in his life. He's represented by the Rachel Uffner Gallery in New York. He's supposed to have this spring, I believe, a solo show at Lehman Maupin in New York. Depending on what happens with COVID, I hope he's successful in that endeavor. All right, now we're gonna look at his work. I'm gonna try and go through things a little quicker than usual today because we're gonna get into figurative drawing, and those of you who are my more seasoned students who've done a lot of figurative work with me, you may get to do painting, figurative painting today. So I want to speed through the beginning part of our class and do things a little quicker than usual. If you need me to slow down, just, I don't know, scream at me. All right. I did that too soon. So this is one of his portraits. It's not full figure. We are going to work in full figure today. Notice the extraordinary colors that he uses. Really incredibly unusual. Look, the whites of the eyes are blue. The hair, beard, eyebrows are pink. Just an amazing use of color. Hyper realistic. It almost looks like he's painted on top of a photograph. Really beautiful rendering of this face, I believe. Fabulous composition. I love the way the face is shoved to the edge of the painting. Really creates for a dynamic view. Love that the lips are green like this. And look at the glow. This glow is created by the fact that it's painted first in oils with an overlay of acrylic. And I'm guessing there's a little glitter here. Definitely glitter in the hair and beard. All right.
What do you, Liz, what do you make of the background in that painting? It's so interesting, a contrast to the amazing figure, you know?
Yeah, the kind of pale background with the very deeply hued face. I think he did that deliberately in order to make the face more visible. What do you think?
Maybe. It's so striking. It's so beautiful. The background is so soft. The colors are so soft. I mean, in and of itself, it's very beautiful. But he is so striking in so many ways. That everything you said about how he painted it, and you know, it was just awesome when you put it up on the screen. So,
Powerful, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not the artist, but I can only guess. I think that was deliberate. He chose those pale colors in the background to emphasize the face. That would be my guess. Unfortunately, when I enlarged this piece, it's very pixelated. So it's difficult to see. But again, his use of color is so unusual. It's this kind of day glow, vibrating almost use of color. I love this orangey red and the way he uses it on the playground equipment so that everything leads back into space. And it also, these figures of the children in the front are really the focal point because they're larger than everything else, but it's also about the color and the way he works the color into the rest of the piece. Oh, and here are the kind of creepy, cartoony, mythical figures. I'm seeing them now. Here's one over here. It's transparent. He calls them spiritual creatures. And then this one down here, I don't know what that is, but it's definitely creepy. And there's one underneath the slide here, or at the bottom of the slide. You can see its little eyes. Interesting. Love the position, the pose of these kids with their arms akimbo, these two little girls. Love the attitude. Fabulous. The way he's made the lines recede back into space. Those of you who've done this with me, perspective drawing, he really utilizes that extremely well in this painting. All right, this reddish orange against the green trees also works very well. Wonderful. All right, we're going to look at one more of his pieces, and then I'm going to talk about what we're going to do today. Again, when I expand it larger, we lose some of the image, but again, the color is so extraordinary. Oh, here's one of his creatures on the bottom left. It almost looks like it's the same person repeated over and over again. It could be a self-portrait piece. I'm not sure. Really unusual use of color. Everything recedes back into space. Always, when you're trying to create this illusion of three-dimensional space, the largest things are in the front. Things get smaller as you go back. Really, it's kind of, he's a virtuoso in creating this three-dimensional space. You can see the influence of Caravaggio is very strong. If you don't know Caravaggio's work, I recommend you look at his paintings. All right. Arcmanoro Niles, when you get time, go look at him in more detail. Now what I want to jump to is the human figure and how artists recreate the human figure. So for many of you, this is a big step. I want you to try and relax in the work that we do today. I want you to start by allowing yourself some breathing room and the opportunity to forgive yourself. If you have never drawn or painted the human figure before, this is all new. And with any new skill, it takes time to learn. If you've ever learned how to ride a bicycle or learned how to drive a car, it takes time. If you've ever learned how to dance classical ballet, it takes time. Learning how to play the piano, learning how to cook, all of those skills take time. So if you're new to this, be kind to yourself and don't condemn yourself for what you do today. I want to recommend a couple of books. This is not new to those of you who are longtime students of mine, but this book in particular, Nicolaides, The Natural Way to Draw, is really an excellent book for learning how to draw the human figure. You can get it on Amazon, like you can get everything else. this book, one of my personal favorites, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain by Betty Edwards. And you can also purchase her workbook, which covers everything that's in the previous book that I showed you, but it's also filled with pages that you can actually draw on. So on the left side of the book, there'll be a drawing or an exercise. And then on the right side of the book, there is a blank page on which you do the exercise that she provides. So those are two great books for learning how to draw a human figure. All right, I didn't give anybody time to talk about how they felt about Arcmanoro and Niles' work. Now is a good time while I'm bringing up what I want to show you next. Suzanne, go ahead.
I love the colors in combination with how he draws so beautifully. It's just the contrast of using something so unique, so unusual in the colors with that like perfect draftsmanship. So that combination is striking, unique, and it's like, wow, for me. I mean,
yeah, I agree. His work blew me away because you don't often see an artist with that kind of extraordinary academic skill then opt for something so kind of off the charts unusual in his work.
I love that he's willing to take risks and all of that. It's like he's out there, he's risking and he doesn't care. He has the mastery and then he said, ha. And I think that's an amazing combination.
I agree. All right. With that note, we're going to be risk takers today too. I'm so proud of you already. Oops. Sorry about that. You probably didn't even see what just happened, but I lost my screen. So we're going to talk now about the human figure. The human figure is almost miraculous in its construction. Nature knew what she was doing when she designed our bodies. It is almost mathematical in its precision. Well, it is mathematical in its precision, in fact. Not almost, it is. So I have here an artist's dummy, and it really can demonstrate for you some of the incredible things about the human figure. First of all, we are symmetrical. We are the same on both sides. Unless we've had an unfortunate accident, or if we've been born with our bodies looking different from others. That happens. Have you ever heard how horses are measured by hand size or hand length? Well, the human figure can be measured by head lengths. If we were able to chop off the head of my artist figure, we could measure it from top to toe, and the average human figure is anywhere from 7 to 8 head lengths long. If you're measuring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5, this figure is. Across from shoulder to shoulder, we are 1 head length vertically and 2 horizontally. It's pretty amazing. Now I'm going to show you an image of those proportions on your screen. We're going to share the screen and you'll be able to see these proportions easily. Any questions yet? You can just call out because I'm going to be covering a lot of stuff quickly. And I should have started by saying, this is not the only class this month that we're going to do figurative work. This is just the beginning. Those of you who have been doing this with me before, you might want to start looking for pictures of figures that you can draw, and you can start warming up if you don't want to listen to this part of the class. All right, so this diagram, can you all see it? I hope. Somebody give me a thumbs up. Okay, cool. You can see the proportions really well in this image, and I'm going to show you some more pictures. I want you to notice in particular how long our arms are in relation to our legs. In fact, I invite you all to stand up and put your arms straight by your sides. And see where the tip of your middle finger is next to your knee. Look at how long the human arm is. Feel it for yourself. And our legs are long too, from the hip to the bottom of our foot. Look at this, 4 head lengths. 1, 2, 3, 4. Huge, right? The torso, 1, 2, about 2.5 head lengths. Look at where the elbow is in relation to the waist. Now, this person's arm is thrust slightly forward. If the arm were straight, the elbow would be lined up directly at the waist. Look here. You see where the elbow is. Look at where the wrist is. Pretty cool, right? Those are the kinds of relationships that you're going to start focusing on when we do our figurative work today. So I'm going to stop share on this one. We're going to look at another diagram, and then I'm going to start demonstrating for you the first steps in drawing the human figure. It may seem scary, but once you get started, it's going to be so much fun. You're going to see. Okay, so my veteran students, you're going to recognize this chart. Unfortunately, it's so pixelated now on the screen. I love this one because you really can see that these are head sizes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And you have to believe me when you look at this. So the female figure is slightly different from the male, but pretty much proportionally, we're pretty much the same. The torso is a little shorter in the female figure than the male figure, although there are some fashion models where they have incredibly long torsos. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4 head lengths for the male leg. 1, 2, 3.5 head lengths for the female leg. So slightly different. Here you can really see the width of the torso, 1, 2, 3 head lengths wide. And the trunk of the body itself in the female, 1, 2 head lengths, in the male, 1, 2.5 head lengths. Now you can find these images yourself on Google. You just Google, type in the search bar, proportions of the human figure. There are a million images of proportions of the human figure. Any questions? All right.
Hello? Hello?
Yes.
I practiced doing that yesterday, and I did the face first, but then I did the body first. Then after all together, I did the face, then I did the whole body.
That's wonderful, Helen. Can you take pictures of those and send me the JPEG so I can see what you've made?
Okay, yeah, I will.
Would love to see images of your work. Awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Well done. And maybe
you send it to the library too?
Sure, send it to the Creative Corner. Maybe you'll be lucky enough to get up in the Creative Corner. And I forgot to mention Shirley Ying is in the Creative Corner this week. Congratulations, Shirley.
Oh, wow. Yay.
Thanks, Helen. All right.
You're welcome.
Now you're probably wondering, what the heck are we going to draw today? We do not have a model, unfortunately, available to us. So I want to show you what you can use. If you go to your search bar in Google, there are a million images of dancers in motion. I recommend that you look for a picture of a dancer, male or female, it doesn't matter, with, you know, the skimpiest costume that you can find. You want to see as much of their body as you can and use that for your work today. Now, looking at this figure, notice the length of her arms. The human arm is very, very long. Notice how long in relation to her legs. And she's on point. Take your pointer finger and your thumb and place one finger at the shoulder and one at the tips of her fingers. Rotate that around and measure it in relation to her leg, from the hip to the tip of her point shoe, the same length. Pretty awesome, correct? Those are the things I want you to notice and measure. The size of her torso, I'm putting my pointer finger at the base of her neck, my thumb at her waist. In relation to the size from her hip onto her leg, it hits mid-calf, halfway between her knee and her ankle. So the torso on this dancer is pretty long. That's how you measure proportion in the human figure. All right, I'm going to show you some more pictures of dancers. I saved some pictures of Misty Copeland. Do you all know who Misty Copeland is? I thought that was going to be one of her, but it was not. This may be she, I hope. Yes. Misty Copeland is the first Black prima ballerina of the American Ballet. If you've never seen her perform and you get an opportunity to, you'll be very lucky. She has probably one of the most extraordinary bodies on the planet. When you look for the picture you're going to work from today, try and find one like this. Do you see the way her body is almost completely framed by the edges of the photograph? You want to try and look for something like that, because that's going to help you with your drawing work today. It will help you see exactly how long her limbs are. Unfortunately, her arms are not extended here from side to side. That would help as well. But here are some things. I chose this picture not just because it's Misty Copeland and because she's African American and it's African American History Month, but because of things like this. Look at where her elbows are in relation to her forehead.
Elbows, forehead.
Those are the kinds of things that can help you draw. Look at where the inner elbow is in relation, not at the same height as her ear, top of her ear, but pretty darn close. Hope everyone can see these things. Look at where her knee is right next to this top of her bicep and the curve of this part of her shoulder. Can you all see this?
Yes.
It's wonderful. She's
Yes.
so excellent to draw because of her muscles. Then there's what we call negative space, this trapezoidal shape here in between her arm and her head. If you can see those empty spaces, they will help you to draw the positive shape of the figure. All right. So now, of course, I would love to be able to keep this image up for you to personally copy, but then you can't see me at work. So I have to take this image down so that you can watch me. Now I'm going to demonstrate for you how I would draw the human figure. Any questions so far? I have a question, actually. I meant to ask this at the beginning of the class. Did any of you take the portrait class where the teacher used the Loomis method of portraiture? I wonder how that went. Did you enjoy?
It's coming up this Friday.
Oh, I thought it started last Friday. Forgive me. All right. I want to hear.
So do it on Thursday. It's Thursday, the 4th.
It's tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you can't go tomorrow. You have to go to Eva's workshop. Well, whatever.
Yeah,
if you get to go and
do
you
it on Zoom.
If you do go, Helen, and it's good, let us know, okay? I want to know.
And the weather, I told him the weather's not going to be good, so he said you could do it on Zoom online. I could take it online.
Yes, it's online.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now I'm going to demonstrate. No questions? Not seeing any hands up? Nothing in my chat box. All right. Well, first though, I want you all to take a moment to go to Google, and in your search bar, I want you to type in dancers in motion, go to images, type in dancers in motion, choose a picture that you like. I really recommend, you could even type in Misty Copeland, since she is so very athletic. And her body is an excellent, excellent body to draw.
Liz, can I just say one thing?
Sure.
I went on the library site. The basics of portraiture is Friday between 5 and 6:30.
Okay, thank you. I thought it was Friday. So any of you who take it, let us know how it is, please, because I don't know the Loomis method, and I'm curious to find out what it's like. If I have time, I might take it myself.
Thanks. Sorry about that.
Not a problem. There's so much on our plates. Who can keep track? You also need, for the next part of this class, you need paper and pencil and an eraser. Nothing wrong with erasing, particularly when you're doing figurative work. So if you have a big fat pink eraser, I recommend it. Number 2 pencil, perfect. I am going to draw in Sharpie. I don't recommend those of you particularly who are newbies to figurative drawing, don't draw in Sharpie. Not a good idea. You want to be able to erase. So I'm going to give you a minute to collect those things, a picture of a person that you want to draw. I stupidly did not do that myself. Let's see. There must be a figure in the Betty Edwards book. Yes. That I can copy. Those of you who have the Betty Edwards book, page 94, there's an interesting male figure that you could copy. Interestingly enough, the lesson is called Citing Relationships in the Human Figure. Page 94 is the image to copy. She only has one of those. Then she goes straight to portraiture from figurative.
That's page 94 of the book, not the workbook, right?
The workbook, not the textbook, sorry. If you have the workbook, it's page 94.
Oh, on mine, it's not quite right. It's.
You may have a different, edition.
Yeah.
This is, I think, the newest copyright edition. Somebody borrowed mine and it never came back. So I just purchased this one. This copyright is 2012. It's not that old or not that new. Let's see, in the actual book. Oh, in the actual book, there are a lot of figures. Page 179, nice figure of an elderly man seated. This is drawing on the right side of the brain. Well, I'll look for next week. See if I can find more. All right, so I'm going to begin because, as I said, I want us to have optimal amount of time for you folks to work. I want to start by demonstrating something called gestural drawing. All right, those of you who are off camera, I'm assuming you can see me. In gestural drawing, you're not going to create something that looks realistic. Gestural drawing is merely a way to help you to warm up and loosen your body, particularly your neck and your shoulders and your arms. You're going to be creating merely the gesture of the figure in motion. Don't try and do this from your memory or imagination. Please, please, please have a photograph or image on your screen in front of you. Can you do that and look at me at the same time? I don't know, technically speaking, I didn't think about that. If you have a photograph or a picture from a magazine, that would work too. Or you could actually copy me. I could be your model. Might help if I take off this sweater. But let me demonstrate first. Gestural drawing is very few lines. You do it very quickly. Try and make your line flowing, fast, immediate. Capture gesture. I'm looking at this picture in a book. It is a male figure. I'm looking at the tilt of his head first, the slant of his neck, his shoulders, the slope of his back, the arc of his waist, the movement of his rear end, the back of his leg, his knee, and his calf. The way his chest protrudes out in the front, and the thrust of his left leg to the side, his left arm to the side and front, and crossing over by the chest. I'm standing back now and looking at what I have, and I'm starting to flesh it out, noticing things like I made the head too small and I'm enlarging it. Working on the neck. Going back and defining his buttocks and legs. And this is wrong, so I want to change that. And voila, I have a figure. It took me all of a minute to get down, and that's what I want you to try and do now. And in fact, I want you to do these over and over and over again. I want you to do them in pencil, and you're going to do them only a minute each. You could either look for different pictures. After I tell you to stop, I'm going to time you. I'm going to put my timer on. And after you do one, you're going to do another one. And we're going to do that for about 10 minutes until you are warmed up. Any questions? So gestural warm-ups first.
Excuse me, Julia.
And you know what? I'm going to pose also for you. It's going to be difficult for you to see my entire figure. That's the problem.
Yes. Liz.
Yes, Helen, you have a question?
Yes, we have to do the dance motion.
Yes,
dancer.
just trying to capture the
Pictures.
motion in the figure.
Okay. All right.
Do it in pencil.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Let's see what I can do here. No, you can't see any of me at all, can you? Now, you're going to have to work from pictures, guys. Sorry about that. Are you ready? I suppose maybe once I've set the timer, let's see if I stand. Now the lighting is bad and you still really can't see my full figure. It's not going to work. All right, so you have to work from photos. 1 minute only. Quick, try and capture the gesture very quickly. Go. You're going to make mistakes. It's all good. This is just warm-up time. Look at where the elbows are next to the waist. Look at where the arms, the length of the arms are in relation to the knees. Those are all the tricks you can use. Where is the level of the chest next to the chin of the figure? How is the head turned? Is it over the shoulder? Is it thrust forward? Is the neck protruding? All right, now you're going to start again. You can just keep drawing on top of the last figure that you made. If you have another picture, you can start doing another figure, or you could do the same figure over again. The more you do the same one, the sharper your eye is going to become. And you're going to start forgetting that you're looking at the same thing over and over and over again. Another goal with gestural drawing, it's not really a goal. It's something that's going to happen automatically. You're going to forget that you're drawing the human figure. You're going to start seeing it as just a series of lines and shapes. My more experienced students, you can work in color now. Maybe do a couple of warm-ups and then start adding color. All right, here we go again. Either the same photo or look for a new one. And begin. Think about relationships. Where's the person's ear? Maybe the head is tilted so that the ear is almost touching the shoulder. How far are the sides of the shoulder from the edge of the face? Where is the chest in relation to the elbows? How wide is the figure? How many head lengths wide is the figure? I mean, I suppose you could work from the head down and look at me. If you're drawing me now, look at where my elbow is next to my eyeglasses. This elbow, where is it in relation to my chest? I wonder if I might have forgotten to start the timer. It's funny. Okay, let's do another one. You really can't see below my waist, can you? What if I do this? There we go. Okay, begin. You could either look at me or a photograph. Okay. And again, we're still warming up. So you can either draw what you can see of me or work from a photo. If you have a victim at home that you can ask to pose, a child or a partner. Okay, we're gonna do a few more of these. I hope you're starting to feel more relaxed about doing this and that your line is starting to flow. All right, and begin. Okay. And begin. It's really limited what I can do. Let's see, I'm going to try. Perhaps if I turn the laptop this way. No, you can basically still only see my upper body. What if I raise the laptop higher? That might work. Nope. All right, well, keep working from your photos or what little you can see of me. We're going to do 2 more of these. Begin. And I just figured out how we can do this. You don't really have to look at me now. I can project pictures of the dancers in motion onto your screen. So I'm going to share screen. Sorry that I did not think of this earlier. Zoom teaching is a learning process for me as well as for you. All right, can you all see this picture?
No.
Okay. Try it again. Can you see it? No?
No.
This is bizarre. Okay, I'm gonna try one last time. What about now?
Yes.
All right, so why don't you go ahead and draw her? This is Misty Copeland again. And just for 1 minute, try and capture the gesture. Yeah, I should have thought of this earlier. So look at all these wonderful relationships now. Where is her knee next to her leg? And where is it in relation to the ankle, her elbow in relation to her ankle and her knee? Where is her ear in relation to her elbow? Use those relationships. Look how incredibly long her left leg is. If I take my pointer finger and my thumb and rest it at the bottom of her neck, down to her crotch, and put that against her hip, that length, the torso is almost to her ankle, but it really only reaches to the middle of her calf. Okay, try her again. Same pose, go ahead. Then I'm gonna put another picture up. We'll do a couple more of these quick gestural drawings, and then I'm gonna show you one more skill, and then I'm gonna invite you to start working in color. But the gestural drawings are key. They may not look like the human figure to you yet, but they're helping you to see what's in front of you. And that is the whole thing, the whole ball of wax for learning how to draw realistically. Look closely at what's in front of you. If you can see it, you can replicate it.
Want us to do Misty Copeland again?
Yes, I want you to keep doing this same drawing, but I'm actually going to change the picture now. Those of you who found pictures of your own to do, you can keep doing them. I'm going to share a new photo. Wait till you see this one. It's pretty amazing. Can you see him?
Yes.
All right. Before we begin, look at where his hand is in relation to the top of his head. Look at where his elbow is in relationship to the bottom of his chin. Look at where his shoulder is in relationship to his wrist on this right arm. Look at where the knee is next to the edge of the photograph. Look at this fabulous triangle of negative space between his legs. If you can draw that, you can probably draw both legs much easier. Look at where his left foot is between his hip and his knee in the right leg. God knows how he can do this. It's amazing. Look at the size of his neck. Don't forget to draw the neck. All right, go. 1 minute. Very quick gestural drawing. How long is his torso? He's got quite an amazing torso. How many head lengths? 1, 2, really only 2 head lengths from the bottom of the neck to the waist. That's interesting. Don't worry about the musculature and the details yet. Just try and capture the line of the figure, the gesture of this pose.
Who is that, Liz?
I have no idea. I don't know, sorry. Okay, one last gestural drawing. Now that I've figured out the method for doing this, let's try one last. Oh, I'm so excited that this really is opening up all kinds of possibilities now. So I picked this one because I think that her gown will help you to see proportion. Notice where the tip of her point shoe is in relation to the bottom of the flowing skirt. Look at where the tips of her fingers are in relation to her ear and her nose in her face. This is just a gorgeous pose. Look at the triangle made between her legs down here, the negative shape here. Look at the way her chest is thrust forward, her head is thrown way back. Look at the torque of her neck. All right, begin. Very fast gestural. Forget about the details. You don't have to draw the folds in her dress. Just try and capture the gesture of this pose. Look at where the edge of her hair is next to the top of her right shoulder. See where they end up. The tip of her chin in relationship to the left shoulder. Look at how long her upper arm is. Measure head lengths. So from the top of her shoulder to her elbow is 1 head length long. Look at let's do her again. We're gonna do one more gestural pose. These are really good warm-ups for you, and we'll still have an hour, we'll have a lot of time left. We'll have 30 minutes to go. But these very quick sketches are the only way how to learn to draw realistically. I went to art school for umpty-ump years. We did these every single day. Sometimes I had, 5 to 6 classes in a day, and we would do these warm-ups for every single class. It didn't matter what we were doing, printmaking, sculpture, whatever. We would do gestural drawings to begin our classes. Just the way you stretch before a yoga class. It's the same mindset. All right, now that we're warmed up, I'm going to demonstrate for you ways that you can start making the figure look a little more realistic. My more advanced students, if you're feeling confident, really work on the color aspects of your work now. I'm going to demonstrate how to use shading in the human figure to add volume to the figure. If you're working in color, think back to the complementary color wheel and use those complementary colors when you introduce color into the figure. Now, I used Sharpie to lay down the gesture of my figure. And not only is my head in this drawing still a little too small, but really it's in the wrong place. So I'm going to move it. It's really closer to the shoulder here. the arm protrudes out more at the elbow here. And probably the torso is a little longer than I've portrayed it, but I'm not going to worry about that now. So what you're going to do now is look for the gestural drawing that you like the best, and you're going to build upon it. And one way you can do that is by employing shading. I'm going to use graphite crayon to show you how to use shading because it'll be visible for you. I would prefer, particularly for you beginning figurative students, that you continue working with your number 2 pencil. Number 2 pencils are the best for drawing. If I were doing my own drawing right now, I would not be working with graphite crayon at this point. I would still be working with my number 2 pencil. So with pencil, as with graphite crayon, shading can be done in multiple ways. You can either use it on its side or its tip. Depending on the amount of pressure you use, you get a darker shadow. You can also use a technique called cross-hatching, where you lay lines next to each other and lines crossing over each other. And the closer you make the lines together, the darker the shadow becomes. My favorite technique for shading is cross-hatching. I wouldn't use cross-hatching today because it takes a lot of time. It's very labor intensive and we probably don't have enough time today to use it. So what I'm going to opt for now is using pretty much the side of my graphite crayon. And I'm going to work on the background first, which is not what I usually recommend, but I think it's really going to help me define my figure in this drawing. One thing about shading, you want to start light and then build up as you go. And the shadow that I'm putting on now, I'm using to emphasize the curve of this figure's back because I really, really love that. I started light and now I'm going to go darker. One of the nice things about the use of shading, it's a great way to hide your mistakes. So any errors in proportion that you've made at this point, you can cover them up with your shading. Artists always have these little tricks of the trade. Now I'm going to start blending the shadow that I put in the background into my figure. I'm using my fingertips to blend. And as always, you want to start light and blend as you go. If you go too quickly from dark to light, you're going to end up with stripes of shadow and it's going to flatten your figure. It's not going to enable you to make it look three-dimensional and real. So in the figure that I'm looking at in this picture, because of the way the light is hitting it, most of the shadow is underneath the arms. Starting light, adding dark as we go. Those of you who are using color, if you're using paint, you want to start with a very pale, transparent wash first, and then build up your color as you go. Try and use non-traditional colors. For example, you could paint your figure, I don't know, day glow orange or lavender, in keeping with Arcmanoro Niles' style. See where your mood, your feeling leads you today. At this point, you can build on the gestural drawing to make it look more real. You can start adding hair, features in the face, if you're feeling ready to do that. I'm gonna start doing that with my figure. Now the Misty Copeland image, you're going to have a lot of opportunity to use shading because of the incredible musculature she has in her body. There should be a lot of shadow opportunities. See if you can see where the light hits each muscle. Now, newer students, once you've fleshed out the figure and you've added shading and details, if you want to start experimenting with color, do. And I'm not going to give you any direction on what colors to use or how to use it where. I want you to be experimental, just like Arcmanoro Niles is. Have fun with it. It'll be after you've done the close, detailed work of getting the figure down realistically, just really play around with color. I don't know if any of you play piano, but the use of shading, this just occurred to me, is very similar to keeping your foot on the pedal when you can't reach the keys. So it's a nice little cheat, shading, a great way to cover up flaws that you may have in your drawing. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what makes your work art and not something made by a machine. It's those places where you show your personal hand in your work. I don't call it mistakes. I show it style. I call it style, and the style shows through. And just a reminder, whatever you do, don't work from memory. Keep referring back to the image of the person that you're working on. And enjoy. Where are we time-wise? Yeah, we're doing good. As always, if you're experiencing difficulties or you just want to ask a question, either talk to me in chat or unmute. Does anyone need me to put a picture back up on the screen? You all seem engrossed. I'm going to start using color so you can see the possibilities with that. Just starting to use color now, that's okay. No, those aren't going to work. I'm going to color my guy green. Let's see where that leads. So when you're working with color, when you want an area to be darker, you use more color. I'm using oil pastels because I think they'll be easier for you to see. So I'm bearing down very hard with the oil pastel. And the areas in the figure that are in shadow. I have to say, I love doing the figure in unconventional color. It's fun. Never did this before. I'm liking how the oil pastels blend with the graphite crayon. Graphite crayon is very cool if you ever get an opportunity to use it. It looks like a crayon, but it's blended with graphite, the same material that you have in a pencil. Can you see it? It's very messy, however. That's the only drawback.
Is it much like working with charcoal?
It's similar to charcoal, but it has a sticky, it's oil-based. So
Okay.
charcoal is softer and easier to spread. Graphite, you can blend and smooth it, the graphite crayon, but because it's oil-based, there's a bit of a tug and pull in it when you try and spread it around.
I love the, is that a bright green?
Yeah.
I love the.
Now I'm going to start working on the background. I think I'm going to go with red because red and green are complements on the color wheel. So let's see what happens. I'm excited. So using the non-traditional color affords a kind of freedom. It allows you really to play with the figure in a way that you can't under normal circumstances. I hope you're finding that. I hope you're experiencing that. And you'll get to a point in this piece too, where you can stop actually looking at the photograph that you're copying from, and you can start using your imagination. That's probably when you start introducing color. You're going to be able to free yourself from studying the photograph so intimately. I like my green guy. Work some more red into his hair. Are we fixed for time? We're good. Oh yeah, I want to do that. Again, you can use the shadow in the background to really put emphasis on the gestural quality of the figure. Few more minutes, about 3 minutes, and then I'm going to start talking about next week's class, and it'll be an opportunity for you folks to share what you've created. And as always, showing your work is an opportunity for you to get fresh ideas about a direction to go with your work. It's not a chance for us to criticize you. It's a chance for us to give you advice, an opportunity for us to give you advice. For those of you who've never drawn the figure before, you're in the big time now. You took the big step today. I've said this before, it bears repeating. It's like stepping off the edge of a mountain. Hopefully I gave you enough of a parachute that it made it enjoyable for you today.
Always, always, Liz.
All right, good. Oh, thank you. Dina just put in the chat box, the weaving class is 1 to 2:30 on March 20th. I wonder why it's only an hour and a half. They do these things to me.
Well, you could change it.
Yeah, I mean, if they make me the co-host, we can stay on for at least 2 hours. Once I teach you the basics, though, you can go off on your own. You won't need me. One more minute. All right. So next week for African American History Month, this artist is brand new to me. I love, love, love her work. Her name is Kentura Davis. Putting it in the chat box for you. Kentura Davis. She is also a figurative artist, but she combines her figurative work with the written word. So it's an opportunity for all of us to see how artists can combine text with other visual symbols. Really like her work. I think you're going to find her exciting as well. And all you'll need for next week, again, is basically paper and pencil. If you want, you can gather your paints and other drawing equipment just in case. We will continue with what I began teaching you today. We're going to work more with the figure. You might want to ask a member of your household if they're willing, excuse me, if they're willing to model for you. It's always awesome to be able to draw from life, and tell them they don't have to be on camera. They can stand somewhere where nobody else can see them. And during the week, I encourage you to ask family or whomever you are living with if they'd be willing to be your model. Drawing from life is really the best way to learn how to draw the human figure. All right, who's going to share today?
I haven't had a chance to put a lot of color into mine, but
you got here late, Lauren, but you want to share. All right, let me put the spotlight on you. Wow.
Is that, can you see it? Oh yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So
really, really nice.
Thank you. I like charcoal and stuff because you can be kind of, you know, messy.
Smudgy.
But I think I'm going to do some bright yellow. I love neon yellow, and do some like blue greens and some greens, but that's me.
And I invite you to try a little violet.
Yes.
That it's well, yellow and violet are complements. See what happens. Experiment with that.
I love
so
that.
I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to focus on the curvature of her back here. I'm wondering if it's quite on it's your left side. Can you see where I have the cursor?
Oh, okay. Let me look now.
I'm wondering if it's quite so extreme at the waist.
Here?
That's your right side, isn't it? The other side, yeah.
So it's kind of like it's like a turn and a kind of a bend and arch. So that's what I'm trying to portray here, and I wasn't sure.
It's beautiful. I just wonder if it's not so, the curve isn't quite so deep.
Okay.
And I have the same problem with my figure.
Mm-hmm.
I covered it up because I made the arc too sharp.
Okay.
The waist. I covered it up with shadow.
I can't see yours. The one you did today?
Yeah, let me go back to me. So in my figure, this area.
Yes, okay.
I made this arc a little bit too sharp. It's impossible for the human body to curve in quite that much at the waist. We want to do that. What we're really all about is this area. We want to emphasize that. And
right.
frequently we will make this curve too extreme. It may be that she is that way. I want you to look at the picture again and think about that part of her body. I'm not telling you that you did it incorrectly. I want you to revisit it and see what you think, okay?
Now, and just really quickly, right in here, this curvature, because do I need to bring this in more? Does it look uneven? You know, the body, it's just like, it's very hourglass. I spilled coffee on my picture, so I'm just kind of, I might need to get another one, but
I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's a beautiful drawing. Have you ever drawn the figure before?
I've been working on it, definitely starting this year. I've really been trying to do this and the contour drawing and trying to just let go. So, you know, I've been a student of art like my whole life, but specifically life drawing, I think I'm just getting into now. So I hate to say this, but I felt like this might be an easier position because hands are not my forte yet.
Don't worry about hands. We're all hung up about hands. When we met in person, we had a whole class just on hands. I don't know.
Did you?
Or maybe I threatened to do that and I never did. Hands are way easier than you would think. At this point, I don't want you to think about them now. Okay?
All right.
All right.
No.
All right. Yay, Lauren. Thank you. Beautiful work. Anybody else? Come on. You want to share. Robin, go for it.
Yeah, so I don't know if you can see this. I just did a drawing.
Oh my gosh, it's marvelous.
And
woo! Talk about capturing the gesture. This is terrific.
I caught some of the gesture. I'm very pleased. I didn't get everything at all, but I just got, you know, she was leaning in such a way, and I kept redoing it because the leaning of her and yet the straightness of her is really something.
Well, the redoing is what it's all about. I have one suggestion. I feel as if the legs are a tad bit too short, just a tiny bit.
Okay.
And they need to be widened a bit. They're a little too thin.
Right.
Legs.
Right. Okay.
Particularly in the upper thigh area. But
yes.
Wow, this is a very beautiful drawing. I love, Robin, your use of shading.
Oh.
Really spectacular. And the feet and hands are lovely.
Well, thank you so much. But I appreciate your feedback so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Keep drawing.
Yes.
All right. It's hard for me to tell who wants to go next. Say Jen. All right.
I did this.
Wait, say Jen, I want to make you bigger. Wait 1 minute. I can't find you.
Oh. I see both Robin and me pinned on the screen.
Yeah,
and now you.
No, for some reason let's see. Here we go. This is how we'll do it.
This is what I did.
There we go.
Can you see it?
Yes. I love the way your arms and legs run off the edge of the page. That really makes your picture so dynamic, Seijin. Awesome.
Thank you.
One suggestion, I think the head maybe should be a little bit bigger. And the way you can do that is just enlarge the hair, the whole back of her head area.
Right here?
Yeah. Yep, in the back. This is beautiful.
I could put her hands because I was out of space.
Can't see them. Yeah, that's fine. No, it really shows that she's in motion. The other thing, perhaps, I'm not sure, I kind of feel like from the waist to the knee is maybe a little bit too short.
Oh. This leg?
Yeah, just a smidge. The knee may be just a tiny bit lower down.
Oh, okay.
But it's beautiful.
Thank you. She's a figure skater.
That's not, you can Google figure skaters, why not? You'll get lots of great pictures.
I love the movement in the skirt. You can see the leg and the positioning of the legs. I love it. It almost looks sheer. So good.
Shading is excellent. Really good.
As
All right, keep drawing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really like the neck and the placement of the head.
Yeah, the thrust.
I just wanted to say that it really is so, it really captures her, and the lines of her neck are beautiful.
Thank you. This is my first time doing this.
Your first time ever?
Yeah.
Really well done. Good for you. Bravo.
Thank you.
You have to do more.
Can't wait.
All right. Thank you, Seijin. Anybody else?
So, Liz, I started.
There you go.
Were you talking to me?
Yes, I thought you were
sorry.
Sure. And then Jane, I think I might have missed you. Jane, you'll be next. Oh yeah, this is terrific. Look at this great negative shape here. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Can you hold it up one last time? Hold it up. So proportionally, the only suggestion I have, the arms and legs, this leg is perfect. The upper leg, the one going up, perfect proportion. This one's a little bit short. I feel from the knee to the foot needs to be elongated. Otherwise, great. And then this arm, I'm thinking this arm is thrown behind his head, so you don't see the full length of the arm, correct?
Right.
The picture. So you portrayed that beautifully.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Excellent. Have you ever drawn the figure before, Nomi?
No, no, but I feel that I'm too stuck on, I don't know, that it's too childish.
No.
I wish I could fly a little more.
You will. The more you do, the more you'll fly.
Well, with your parachute.
It's not childish at all.
Okay.
It really looks like it's moving.
I was going to say the same thing.
Remove that from your mind, please. All right, Jane.
Yeah.
So I did a drawing of Misty Copeland. She's standing in front of a curtain, and I have quite a bit of work to do to portray the curtain. But I really struggled at the beginning to get started. Like I took out a ruler and I started to get really technical. And then I said, you know what? I need to just take the leap. I mean.
It's beautiful, Jane.
Really beautiful.
Looks great.
Particularly the legs and the way her torso is. Really beautiful.
Thank you. So I need to take the next step now and fill in the background and play with the curtain and then just work her more, you know. I work slowly, so.
That's good. That's your style.
Yeah.
Well done. The proportions are excellent.
Thank you.
With the arm, it was on my left.
So this was another really interesting challenge that I discovered once I really got into it. So this arm had to be significantly smaller because it's reaching back.
Okay.
And I really,
my question.
Yeah,
so
I really
done it well. You've done it well. Good.
And
Good.
this
yeah, I want to see
well.
it next week. I want to see.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Yep. Good. That was my question. Anyone else? I think you have 1 minute. No. Oh, Susan, really fast. Woohoo!
Wow.
Yeah, talk about motion.
Oh my God, that's gorgeous.
Really great. Susan, the edges of your shadows, just work on blending them more. Otherwise, the proportions are super. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Well done.
Unmute. I will work on it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, well, we've run out of time. As always, I hate that I can't see all your work. You can always send me JPEGs, please.
Mm-hmm.
I can offer you advice or come early to the next class and share with me then.
Oh, I'm not wearing my mask.
How early?
Well, I mean, Heidi doesn't open up till 1:15.
Okay.
Thank you, Liz. Hi, guys. It was everything you did today was so beautiful. Just beautiful. Great job, Liz. You know, what a great teacher you are.
I'm trying. I mean, I learned a lot today about how to use Zoom. It's really a learning experience for me.
Thank you so much.
So,
Great.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. If you take the portraiture class, email me and let me know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say before we go, that 1 minute rule was perfect for me. I've never done figures before. And it helped me so much because I was concentrating. And then when I put it down and I looked at it, it helped a lot. Thank you so much.
Time yourself.
I'm going to.
Yep. All right.
Take care.